Hi guys, Heike Yates here, and I found my sunny spot today to talk to you guys. And I want to thank Carol for sparking the idea that sparked my wanting to talk to you about the 30 days to develop a habit, a good habit. And she said, but you also can develop a bad habit. Very true, because when we're talking about habits, they're not only good habits we can establish, but also bad habits. I hate to say bad, but it's a good way of looking at it black and white, if you want to say that. What is a habit? Now let me read this. Wikipedia says, a habit is a routine or behavior that is repeated regularly and tends to occur subconsciously. All right, so it happens repeatedly, regularly, and occurs without you sometimes even knowing it. So, how to define a good habit? A good habit that you do regularly and that you do without even thinking about it is, let's go for a walk. You have a set time during the day where you go for a walk. Or just you do it every day. It's just something you do. You don't even think about it anymore. And you just go for that walk every day and you miss it when you don't do it. So that will be a habit that is repeated regularly and you don't even think about it. And that will be, let's take this as a good habit because it makes you feel better. You get some vitamin D when you're outside and it gives you exercise and it helps you stay fit. Now, a bad habit is a habit that has started to be subconscious for one of my clients. And here's what it is. I have a client that I see who has moved an hour away from her place of work. And now she has to drive 1 hour to work and 1 hour back. So she has no time to make breakfast. At least that's what she said. So she has adopted the bad habit of going by a fast food, we're not naming names, fast food place, drive-through in the morning. And she's getting I have to say it, Egg McMuffin every morning. And I did not know this for a long time. So she drives through this place, gets an Egg McMuffin, drives to work and eats this pseudo food, I call it. So then a month go by and I look at her nutrition profile and there's nothing really at breakfast. And I'm like, what do you do for breakfast? And she says, well, I gotta tell you, I go to place X and get an Egg McMuffin. And I'm going, oh my God, what are you thinking? She says, it's carbs and it's protein. And you know, I don't have time to make breakfast in the morning. And so this is easy and I get some food into my stomach. So that was developing a bad habit of eating food that is poor quality, not nourishing your activities, or giving you what I call the bang for the buck. You get no energy from them. Your stomach gets overloaded, it's fatty, it's salty, and it's not nutritious for your body. So now we have an example of a good habit and a bad habit. So we have these two camps. And they're, of course, constantly fighting with each other. The bad habits say, I'm going to get you. The good habits say, no, you won't get me because I'm trying to be really good today. How do habits work? Well, if it would be that easy, wouldn't it? Well, habits are not that easy. If you have a habit that you established, a bad habit that you established over 30 years, it is really hard not to keep going with that habit. Or if you want to establish a new habit, which is what I'm looking into as we're talking the end of the year. Some of you make New Year's resolutions or want to start a new exercise or eating plan or just something new. You're establishing a new habit. So habits don't just come, you say, hey, I'm going to eat egg whites mixed with spinach and a yogurt for breakfast, just to use an example. You have to cook it. It is a process of how to get to that habit. It's not that easy, unfortunately. You can't say, habit, there it is. So 30 days is in general a good number to establish a habit. You know what? Habits are not based on any scientific formula. I've tried, let's use the strategy of developing a habit of drinking more water. Not even the prescribed number of glasses a day. Many of us don't hydrate enough, don't drink enough water, don't drink enough, period. And just getting somebody to drink a glass can be super challenging, as I learned from my clients. You say, here, drink some water. Never happened. Week later, the client goes, I just couldn't do it. Why couldn't you do it? Well, I didn't have the right container. All right, here's the right container. It's like, let's use my cup. Here's a cup. So here, put this cup on top of your desk, and I want you to drink it by lunchtime. Client comes back, hi, I couldn't do it. Why couldn't you do it? I just forgot about it. All right, but it's right in front of you. I just didn't see it. And so habits are little sneaky, pesky things that you have to be really determined to follow up and stick with them. That's why 30 days, if you missed that cup of water that day, and I know it's a very simple example, but you'd be surprised if you tried something this simple, how difficult it might be. So if you think of that cup of water, you're thinking, no brainer, I can do this. So you could do it for 30 days and see how many days you missed drinking it. So it's a hit and miss. It's a what works for the individual, what I've learned from my clients, or even for me, what works the best to make myself follow up on my habits and stick with them. We have to identify a routine. Currently, my husband is trying to drink less coffee, and here's my coffee. But he's decided that he's going to drink less coffee, and he will not have coffee with lunch. So in Germany, a tradition and a habit is to have a cup of coffee for lunch. Hi, Amy. And that is just a habit I've done for I don't know how many years. And so we make coffee in the morning, and then as we make lunch, we now just drink water. And we both, I know, secretly thinking, I wish I had that coffee, but we're allowing to have that coffee in the afternoon. So this is my afternoon coffee. So identifying a routine that works for you, so it seems to be the least bothersome for him, that he, he is just, it's the easiest for him to do and say, okay, my wife sits there, we're having lunch, and we're just not drinking coffee, but we enjoy that coffee after. Experiment. So with rewards, experiment with a reward. If you're changing a habit and you feel deprived, then find a reward. Or let me help you find rewards. Our reward is that we get that 1 cup of coffee after our lunch. So we eat lunch, we do our thing, and I have to admit today we took a nap. Oh my God, it felt so good. And now I'm talking to you, drinking my cup of coffee. So this is my reward for today. So looking into rewards of how can you offset the initial feeling deprived because you're leaving something out, that you're making a new habit of not having 4 cups of coffee, but maybe not just 3. Okay, isolate the cues, and that's an interesting one. We all have triggers that say, oh my God, the smell of the coffee, just seeing something walking down the street with a Starbucks in hand, you go, oh man, I really want that coffee at lunch. So just the smell could be a trigger or a cue for you to want it, or a habit. Like my client who started working an hour away, her cue was, I have to go to work and drive for an hour, which is boring. I'm getting hungry, I'm getting thirsty. So there is a habit, a bad habit that developed for her. And then what's always important in my books is have a plan of action for developing new habits. So if you say, okay, by January 1st, I will no longer eat carbs, which it's just as an example, as to change of a habit. You have to have a plan of action to figure out, heck, how I'm going to do this. How this is all going to work to make me feel successful. And I do not encourage you to cut your carbs. But we're talking habits. So how can you develop a habit? It is freaking hard. I tell you, we fitness professionals make it sound so easy. Oh, let's do a habit. I want from you, take action. What habit would you like to change? Not today, not tomorrow, but what habit would you like to change that you can do, number one, easily and without having to think about it? Remember, a habit is something you repeat regularly and it occurs without you thinking. What do you think that could be? And that doesn't mean I want to lose 20 pounds by tomorrow. A small, tangible, doable habit that you can tell me that you can do for 30 days. So today's live post or live feed or hello, here I am is about the 30 days. You can in 30 days develop a habit, and I want you to develop good habits. Getting rid of all the bad habits, or at least trying to. Some habits are just way too much fun, and you know which ones I'm talking about. So identify your routine. Number two, experiment with rewards. What could a reward be for you taking on a new habit? Number three, isolate the cues that make you not want to do it or that make you waver away from your new good habit, and have a plan of action. A great example I have with a client who really wants to put on more muscle mass is she said, I have a pair of weights, I put it right next to me, and every day after work I do 10 bicep curls and 10 tricep presses. That's all I'm going to do, and I'll mark it on the calendar. And I'm back. Woohoo! And for 30 days, she missed several days, but she made most of them. So your habit doesn't have to be perfect. Listen, you don't have to be perfect. Start with a habit. And since I can't see out without my glasses, I have to see what Amy said. Swap the old habit with a new habit. Well, here we go. That's a good one too. That's a no-brainer. Swapping an old habit, like my client who goes into the drive-thru with a new habit of perhaps preparing something the night before, like my super shake. You know, ladies, I love my super shake that you can just either make in the morning in less than 2 minutes, have everything on the way to work, or something along those lines. So tell me what you want to change. What is the habit that you can say I can tackle? No questions asked, no problem that I can start today changing that habit. So I'm enjoying my cup of coffee, my reward, and I'm glad that you were here, and thank you, Amy, for stopping by, and everybody else. I hope you enjoyed my little sunny spot with my little famous wall of fame here behind me. And remember, Thursday, 2 o'clock, if you want to talk about, just like Carol wanted to talk about bad habits and good habits, I'm here for you. And where's the link up here on Facebook? Click the link for all new cool stuff that I've been working on. More to come. Until then, ciao, you guys. Bye. Bye, Patricia.